What's going on, guys? This is the Experienced Optimist, and today I wanted to talk about creating your own struggle. I was listening to Joe Rogan on the Aubrey Marcus podcast, and during the discussion, Joe Rogan mentioned that you should create your own struggle. I find the concept of creating your own struggle especially compelling because most men, including myself, for most of our lives have been beating our heads against a wall for nothing. We as men like to embrace a false bravado as a signal to the world that we are real men. I found this quote to be most fitting as a description of the nature of most men, including myself. What unhappy beings men are. They constantly waver between false hopes and silly fears, and instead of relying on reason, they create monsters to frighten themselves with and phantoms which lead them astray. During the course of the conversation, Aubrey asked Joe Rogan, "What are the challenges that you still face?" Joe responded, "They, meaning the challenges, are minimized by work. The more effort that I put in my life, whether it is exercise, particularly like running and yoga and martial arts, and doing stand-up and doing podcasts, the more I do those things, the more I'm creating my own struggle. And I feel like there's a lot of benefit in creating your own struggle. If you see a lot of people that run into a lot of struggle with life, just in life in general, in terms of like relationships and friendships and fallings out, a lot of that seems to me people need a certain amount of conflict and a certain amount of struggle. And they create that struggle if they don't get it in some organic form. If you are not in war with your neighboring tribe, or you are not worried about predators, you create the struggle with your girlfriend or your buddies or people at work, your coworkers. The more I create my own struggle, the more I orchestrate it through training, through exercise, through rigorous physical struggle, where you're knocking at the door on whether your body is going to make it through this. The more I do that, I feel like it minimizes other struggles in my life. I like it that way a lot better." Unquote. At this point in my life, I believe that every man should be creating his own struggle. Life is too damned hard to be dealing with racism every day, asshole coworkers, nagging wives, duplicitous friends, and dishonest family members. If I had to do it all over again, I would focus on studying philosophy, psychology, and neuroscience for my intellectual pursuits, Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu for martial arts, and Spanish as a language. I would focus inward spiritually at a very young age so that I know myself better during my formative years and incorporate minimalism as a discipline. Just performing those actions alone would bring about enough struggle to keep me focused and interested in life so that I would not have to turn to extra stimulation from ill-favored sources for sustenance. What I see most men doing is partaking in unnecessary struggles for the sake of struggling. Men constantly arguing with other men over trivial ideas. Men enduring the stigmatization of other men because they want to eventually rise above and be seen as a hero. And men purposefully languishing at a job they hate because they feel like some kind of corporate martyr. What is the purpose of all these struggles if they provide no function for your life? The modern man should look for the struggles to embrace that enrich his life, not detract from it. Charles Mackerel stated, "Understand that by giving something a name, you own it. I find that by naming it, you give yourself a sense of purpose. Like wanting to become a doctor or a lawyer or a writer, for instance. Don't hide in the shadows and wait for it to happen, because the chances of it spontaneously happening are next to none, trust me. You actually have to put yourself out there and commit to it by giving it a name. And you achieve this by simply saying, I will become a this or that, or whatever it is that I want. Because you see, if you own it, nothing anyone can say or do will be able to take it away from you, because you give it a name, and thus it belongs to you." Unquote. I believe that men should give their struggle a name. Make sure that that struggle will uplift your life, focus your divine fervor, and prepare you to become a better man. Not a better man that sacrifices himself for others, like some lackey. No, a man that cares for and cherishes his life, a man that believes over all else that he has value. At the end of the podcast, Marcus and Joe Rogan were discussing how looking for external validation was akin to being caught in a spider web, with each action sought to court external validation, similar to the prey of the spider creating movement that attracts the spider to itself. This is what Aubrey Marcus said about seeking external validation. You have to hunt all the ways you validate yourself externally to love yourself internally. If that's fucking Instagram, if that is the girls you're having sex with, the money you're making, whatever you're getting external validation for, you better hunt that shit. You better look, you better find it in the corner of your brain by eating an edible, or flying, or getting in a float tank. Do something or be in nature long enough so you can unravel that. Otherwise, it is hunting you, and you're not hunting it, and it will fucking eat your face. Joe Rogan then responds, that is also why choosing to engage in your own struggle is so critical. The more you do that, the more those things have less pull. You can minimize the amount of attractiveness that those things have. When you're faced with the cold, hard reality of physical struggle on a daily basis, those are the things, whatever their dance is, whatever their siren song, it does not sound as good, and you lose a lot of it. Great insight. But if you like this video, like, subscribe, support on the MGTOW channels, and I will talk to you later.